Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Al and Patty Gessner, and thank you, Broome Street All-Stars. The parade committee got together recently, and we decided we want to speak about two of our local veterans. I'm going to ask my good friend Fab Fabrizio Morjan to come up, and he's going to be representing the naval ship and speak about one of our local veterans. Fab?
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Whip this out. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the Tri-States area. On behalf of the last active naval ship within the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, Tri-State Naval Ship 7241, we recognize a fellow shipmate whose humble origins began here in Orange County and led to over 33 years of service to our nation, our state, and the communities he proudly dedicated his life to. Angelo Mario Romano was born on August 27, 1933, the only son and youngest of 3 children to a poor dairy farming family in Howells, New York. The son of Italian immigrants with a strict upbringing, he graduated high school at the age of 16. He had long decided that dairy farming was not in his future, very much to the dismay of his father. And in January 1952, Angelo enlisted in the United States Navy Reserve at the age of 18. And this was a decision that would change his life for the better. It was a decision that, along with becoming a volunteer fireman for the Howells Volunteer Fire Department, would strengthen his community and his commitment to his nation. He was called to active duty in May 1953 during the Korean War and served honorably until his discharge from active service in May 1955. During this period, he was assigned to the Navy destroyer USS Power after attending shipfitter school. Despite being honorably discharged and hoping to make the Navy a career, Angelo dutifully returned home to take care of his elderly parents. His service to his nation was not deterred by his commitment to his family. Angelo decided to return and continue as an enlisted sailor in the Naval Reserve from 1955 until his retirement as a senior chief petty officer in March 1985. In his civilian life, he served New York State's Department of Corrections Juvenile Division from 1955 at the age of 22 as a senior boys supervisor, working with and counseling delinquent and severely troubled teenagers ages 15 to 18. Then in 1973, Angelo became a corrections officer within the Mid-Hudson Forensic Center in New Hampton, here in Orange County, working with mentally ill inmates and eventually retiring in April 1989 after almost 34 years of service to New York State. And while Angelo is happily retired, father of 3 and grandfather of 5, he still finds time to help his community and other veterans whenever he can. Angelo received the following awards and medals during his honorable service: the Navy Meritorious Unit Commendation, the Navy Good Conduct Medal, the Navy Reserve Meritorious Service Medal, the Navy Occupation Service Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, and the Armed Forces Reserve Medal. Angelo, would you please stand? Angelo Romano, you have embodied the Navy's mottos, Semper Fortis and Non Sibi Sed Patriae. The first means ever strong, and the second, not for self, but for country. And on behalf of the naval ship, all our comrades in arms present, and this community for your years of dedicated service, I thank you and I salute you. And I want to thank Hank Dunn for allowing me to have this privilege to do this. Thank you. God bless America.
Thank you, Fab. Good job. Thank you for serving, veteran. VFW 161 decided we wanted to speak about one of our members, comrades, Steve Drapala, known to a lot of us as Draps. Steve, a lot of you may know, has been battling cancer for approximately 3 years now. He does not miss a beat. I don't care if it's his duties with his family, with the post. Steve does not miss a beat. He continues on as a soldier should. We decided to interview Steve, and at the same time, I'm trying to get some military records down on paper. I didn't realize that Sharon Siegel is also interviewing him as well for the Times Herald Record. Sharon, thank you. You're a great supporter of the veterans. You don't miss any of the veterans' activities here in Fort Jervis, and you put a lot of good public relations out there for us in the newspaper and the community. And thank you for doing that. I had the time to read the paper this morning. It's a great article you wrote about Steve, Sharon, and I'm going to steal a paragraph from that later. I wanted to speak about Steve because Steve and I go back to kindergarten. We started kindergarten together, we graduated together in '66, and we both went off to Vietnam about the same time. Stephen P. Drapala was inducted in U.S. Army on February 19, 1969, and immediately assigned to a reception company at Fort Jackson, North Carolina. Following this assignment, Steve was assigned to a basic training company at Fort Gordon, Georgia. He also received his advanced infantry training at Fort Gordon. Following this specialized training, Steve was transferred to Fort Benning, Georgia, where he successfully completed his airborne training. After a 2-week leave, Steve left his Fort Jervis, New York home for Vietnam. During his 13-month tour of duty, where he was assigned to the 1st Cavalry Division, he was responsible for search and destroy missions as an infantryman. It was on March 8, 1970, that he was awarded our country's Bronze Star for bravery in ground combat. While his platoon came under enemy attack, he assumed his platoon leader's duties after he was wounded in action. Steve called in for artillery strikes, medevac helicopters for his wounded comrades, and remained in command until everyone was extracted from the battlefield. On May 1st, 1970, Charlie Company, along with the rest of his division, were ordered through executive order from President Nixon into Cambodia. While deployed in Cambodia, C-15 discovered the second largest enemy arms cache of the Vietnam War in a location commonly known as the City. After 3 weeks hunkered in bunkers, the division left Cambodia after successfully removing and destroying all of the enemy weapons and supplies. After assuming their role as an infantry unit back in Vietnam, Steve received rest and recuperation in Australia in Taipei. Upon leaving Vietnam, Steve was awarded the National Defense Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, Combat Infantry Badge, Good Conduct Medal, and a second Bronze Star Medal for meritorious achievement in ground operations against hostile forces between the time periods of September '69 and September 1970. Steve was honorably discharged on September 24th, 1970 with the rank of Sergeant. He has been a lifelong member of the Walter Hughes Tri-State Chapter of the 82nd Airborne Association, as well as the VFW Post 161 in Port Jervis, New York. Now, just a few days ago, Steve was at the funeral home honoring the MIA that returned home, and there was we thought a very serious medical condition. We took him immediately to next door Bon Secours Hospital, and they transferred him to Orange Regional Medical Hospital. It was a very big concern of all of us, everybody that you know him, you love him. However, I will share with you, he was up and out of bed yesterday and talking and walking, and it was the old Draps that we all know. So we were all praying and God answers prayers. I think that's the bottom line. But Sharon, I'm going to steal. I'm going to steal a paragraph from Sharon's newspaper article just to really explain to you the type of guy this is. He says, it's an aggressive cancer. Now he's talking about himself. He's been battling cancer for 3 years. I can't feel my feet. I've gained weight from the treatments. My breathing is labored. I take painkillers and that cause other problems. And I'm on IV treatments every other week to build immunity. Radiation and chemo have not shrunk the tumors. My life is literally miserable. I feel that I am dying, he said. Yet he insists he would do it all again. I can't say it better than Steve. His last words during the article, I'm an American. When you are called to duty, you go. Thank you, Steve Drapella. And include Steve and his family in your prayers if you will. It also recently came to my attention that Tom Early is undergoing chemotherapy as well, so please keep him and the Early family in your prayers as well. Okay. While Veterans Day is primarily a tribute to Americans living veterans and should be observed more as a celebration than as a somber remembrance, it is also appropriate to include a moment of respect for those who gave their lives for this country. I'm then going to ask the VFW Rifle Squad and Al Gessner and Stacy Jurgel following the rifle salute with taps.
Present, arms, fire! Ready, aim, fire! Ready, aim, fire! Stand by! Order, arms!
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Stacy. And thank you, 161. Next, I'm going to ask the Port Jervis High School Chamber Choir to come up and perform a song to the Unsung Hero, directed by Ruth Ann Gordon. Thank you, Chamber Choir, and thank you, Ruth Ann. That was wonderful. Thank you. All right, here's where we come to the part of the program where we want to thank everyone, and I always miss someone. I want to start off by thanking the police department for their escort, the Menacing Valley ROTC. Every year we draft a few more of them over here. You guys look nothing less than great. Thank you so much. The city officials and our guests, thank you for coming again. We have the Rosa Clemens Post 161 under Commander Carmine Tofino, and the auxiliary, thank you. Elks Lodge, that always carried a huge flag in our parade, thank you. The Combat Vets Motorcycle Association, all the drivers of the military vehicles. We got a large 10-ton truck, we got a few Army Jeeps, thank you so much, guys. The American Legion, Post 685 under Commander Jim Knight, and his officers and his members. The latest auxiliary also as well, the Airborne, 82nd Airborne Colored Guard. Thank you guys for coming again, once again. The Disabled American Veterans Colored Guard and members. Vietnam Veterans of America, thanks guys. We have Girl Scouts and Brownies and the 4-H Club, the Port Jervis Sports Explorers, the U.S. Military Motorcycle Association. Again, the Broome Street Band, Tri-State Naval Ship under the direction of Captain Roger Fuller, and his officers and members, and the Ladies Auxiliary, Daughters of the American Revolution, Old Mine Road Chapter. We have Boy Scout Troop 173, Cub Scout Pack 1247. In addition, we got several other Boy Scout troops that have jumped on board with us. I don't have their information from them yet. I'll have that for next parade, hopefully. And Port Jervis Ambulance Corps, followed up by the Red Knights Motorcycle Club. Thank you guys for bringing your bikes, and followed up by a couple of rigs from the Port Jervis Fire Department. Thank you so much for making our parade, everyone. Next, we'll have a musical number, an anthem fanfare by the high school band, directed by, again, Dana Long. High school band. Thank you, band, and thank you, Dana. Next, I'm going to call up, again, Vince Livingston to do the benediction for us. Chaplain? And after Vince, we'll have a closing musical selection by the Broome Street All-Star Band.
It's great to be here. We honor our veterans. We should 365 days a year. I had the experience here a few days ago that a gentleman from out of town can pass here, this, I will call it hollow ground. He was amazed. He said he's been all over but never seen a park like us. Many parks are all hidden and you can't see them too good. But he said, you can't help but to remember when you come up Pike Street that you can't help but remember how we take care of our deceased fellows and girls. That was a great compliment to know that somebody out of town can do this and think so much of our city. So anytime you part, he said you can't help but remember how we take care of our deceased. The other thing is, we always talk about how well we take care of our veterans, which is true. But I think we have a greater thing to remember. That is our youth. Look around. These are our leaders. And we have to pay more attention. We have to start paying more attention to these young people. I have to first make a statement. If you look over on to my left, look at this young bunch of junior ROTC from Menacing Valley. I have been to their meetings. They are under this almost a strict rule as if they were in the Army or Navy. I watched their training. These are coming leaders, coming soldiers, sailors, whatever. And I think that it's tremendous that they're taking their time to understand that what they are faced with. They deserve a lot of help, and we hope some of our leaders. So I think right now we have done so much for our past. We have a great job that we have got to pay attention to our younger generation. Work with them, make Port Jervis a city that we are very, very proud of. So in our veterans, we take good care of them. We have two posts in Port Jervis, 161 and the naval ship. And it's our jobs as veterans to help each other out, help out your community. Do you know who your veteran is? He could be next door to you. He may need help. And we have got to bind ourselves to do more for each and every one. This is the head, and this is your city of Port Jervis people. Work together and do what we can to make it even greater and be proud. I am very proud to be asked to come up here and speak. And I'm like quite a few other boys out there, we couldn't get into the service fast enough. So some of us lied about our age and others could walk in. So the biggest thing we have right now is our duty to as American citizens to be diligent, remembering our family, friends, neighbors who passed, even though you don't know them. A little hello from heart. The sacrifice we made to be able to enjoy all of the liberties we sometimes take it for granted. So before you leave this park, do one thing for each and every one of us veterans, and that is stop and look at our markers. See what they represent. They represent your family, your fathers, your brothers.